Thank you again, Mr. Daniel, for this opportunity for me to share my experiences and information for the benefit of future applicants with regard to the Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Scholarship. That is one of the most prestigious ones, really. For the benefit of our audience, my names are Stevie Eyamu again, and I'm from Uganda. Um, I'm an Itesot by tribe. This is just introduction. And I am privileged to have been awarded a couple of scholarships, not just this one. So I have, strong experience with scholarship hunting, I should say. So welcome again and feel at home. Grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, pen and paper, and let's dive into this. So I will try to be as detailed and as slow as possible with this presentation for the benefit of everybody, mindful of the network and all other challenges that may be um, around us. This evening, depending on your time, we will be sharing on how we can prepare an award-winning Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Scholarship application. And this is a very, very timely webinar, I should say. So the information that we will be sharing here is very beneficial because the scholarship window for the applications is going to be opening most likely after October of this year. So I really believe that this is a very timely webinar. And thanks to the hosts of this webinar, the African Center for Career Mentorship and Guidance. So let me dive into the nitty-gritty of this presentation and start with the most intriguing and most important aspect of this presentation. So I have broken down the contents of this presentation this evening. And as you see on your screen, we will be, explaining the details and the required documents that you have to be equipped with prior to this application and probably during the core process of your application completion. So at this stage, wherever you are, whether you are Ugandan, because I am sure there are other persons who are probably joined online from different countries globally, a passport is very important. And this is your only ticket to travel and be able to benefit from these scholarships wherever you might be, whether it's Kenya, whether it's so the second one is your academic documents. And this, of course, is um, your pen and horn and spear for the hunt. And you need an English language proficiency certificate. You need a residency certificate. And from that stage, you will be enrolling into the system to select your program. Inside the system, you will be required to submit a CV, and this is a Europass CV. This is a European standard CV. And then you will be able to submit your letter of motivation, also known as statement of purpose. Of course, inside it, you will be explaining the core areas of your competence, and you will be trying to convince the selection committee how competent and how deserving you are for this scholarship. Inside it, you will also be able to complete your scholarship application form. Inside there, you will be required to submit recommendation letters, most of which are academic and professional recommendation letters. So in most cases, there are two recommendation letters in this aspect. And of course, there you will be done and you will be ready to, press the submission button and wait for the subsequent steps towards your interview and interview preparation. Okay, so I would like to talk a little more detail about the contents that we have shared about. And a passport is one of my starters. This is your only hooker. This is your only travel document that will allow you jump into the plane and access any country all over the world. So at this stage, if you don't have a passport, forget about it. Why do I say forget about it? You have to have a passport if you are looking forward to travel, wherever you are and wherever you want to go to, so that you can achieve your career goals and objectives. So I call upon my Ugandans, sisters and brothers, countrymen and countrywomen to process passports as early as possible for this hunt. Second to that is your academic credentials, your academic documents. And for this, I mean your degree documents, your undergraduate documents. Of course, mindful that this is a master's scholarship. And for starters, a master's scholarship will always require that you have at least completed your undergraduate degree studies. So you need these documents ready with you for the hunt in the process going to the application. If you haven't processed or haven't completed your undergraduate degree and you have probably testimonials, that can also work. Transcripts and certificates will be required in this stage, and you will be required to upload these into the system. Third document will be your English um, language certificate. But in this stage, I understand that for Ugandans, most of our documents are written in English. So I shouldn't overemphasize that. But for some scholarships schemes, the English language certificate is very important. I should also emphasize that if your document is not written in the language in English, you will probably be required to offer a translated version of it. So yeah, like I said, the English language certificate is a very important document. And this is almost the standard for most international applications. You will only be lucky if it's exempted for a specific application. So I should say that at this stage again, for the benefits of very equipped and prepared hunters out there, is to prepare and sit for the English language. That is if you really, really take this very seriously. However, I should also say that some scholarship schemes accept other language certificates. For instance, here on your screen, at the Makerere College of Humanities, they also usually provide the language certificate. So um, if you are very hard up and you can't be able to afford to sit the IELTS, you can also process the language certificate for Makerere University. I don't know about other universities, but I'm confident that Makerere always provides this for students, of course, at a fee. And the IELTS, which is awarded and uh, given to candidates, is by the British Council, and it comes also at a cost, usually very expensive, about 1.3 million or so for you to have to sit for the IELTS at the British Council and obtain your English language certificate. Next document is your residence certificate, documentation for your nationality. Why is this important? This is important because the scheme will always require verification, will always require evidence to prove your nationality on top of the documents that you will provide. So they always want to prove that you are indeed a Ugandan, and therefore you will be asked to submit a resident certificate. Resident certificate in this regard can be provided by different authorities, NERA and the local government, local council authorities. These are the only authorities in Uganda that provide the resident certificates. Case in point, while I was doing this, I opted to get mine from the local council. So I obtained my resident certificate from the LOC1 office. This is very important in this scholarship hunting process. So you have to also get this document at the stage where it's required. Of course, this document introduces you to the scheme, to the selection committee, describing indeed that you are a Ugandan. How you do it and how the authorities do it is completely their authority. So let's dive in now. So this is where the game starts, selecting a program. Like I said, this is the trickiest part of the application process that greatly determines your success rate. This is the point before which you enter. You should have mapped out what programs, what courses, what disciplines do you really want to study? Um, what program do you want to study when you are granted this scholarship? So this is a very important stage. And at this stage is where you will be um, allowing yourself to make choices of the programs that you wish to study. Of course, in this stage, there is a multiplicity of programs. So inside which you will be able to find something that is compelling and that you would wish to pursue and study for your master's degree. And this is a link that I have shared for the catalog, which is populated with 193. Most of those statistics keep changing, but as of this state where I was preparing this presentation, there were 193 programs in total in this catalog. So this catalog can be found in the Google space. So if you typed in the Google space, Erasmus Mundus catalog 2024-2025, that is if it's open, you should be able to find the catalog through which you should be able to access the details of the program and select your course that you desire to pursue. So let me take us through the steps. I had prepared a little graphics to enable us understand what this really entails. So for the benefit of digital immigrants who probably have difficulties browsing the web, this is how the web looks like. When you get into your Google, you should be able to type in Erasmus Mundus catalog. And as you see, the red arrow there portrays how this link really appears. So when you get into Google, this is the step through which you access the link, access the application portal, and complete, select, upload, and submit your application. This is the details of the inside of this link. When you get inside of this link, you should be able to see how this link really looks like. And it's composed of so many things. But for the benefit of persons who will find difficulty, you will always be able to contact for details. So this is what I mean. This is the snapshot of courses, programs. As of the time when I was, preparing this presentation, this is what I mean. That when you get into the catalog, you should be able to see different programs of your choice. So you should be able to select programs. However, do not think that you will find your program as pre-planned as you would probably wish. You will find that the program is structured in different ways, not as exact as you would probably wish. So find something that is related and get into there and read the details of it and understand before you progress with your application process. So on the left is the filters over which you should be able to search for your course in a speed time and be able to get the course that you want. If you're in the social science field, if you're in the engineering field, if you're in the oil field, if you are in the legal field, you should be able to give um, searching words for the system to be able to split secondly give you the search. So yeah, so another thing here I should say is the Europass CV is a document that you will have to submit inside the application process. So the Europass CV is also another document, and this is a European standard format CV. And this also has templates in Google that when you search, you should be able to access templates already prepared by the European Union, over which you will be able to populate with what information that you would wish to appear in your CV. So this is another document that you will need to submit. So usually this is the only accepted format, cognizant that there are so many CV standards, CV formats, but for this particular aspect, the Europass CV is the only accepted format for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship applications. This is also how the European Union has prepared for this and somewhat have everything simplified for you. When you get into the European Union Europass website, you should be able to find the Europass CV template and be able to populate with whatever information that you wish. Of course, you'll register and you will familiarize yourself when that time comes, or even after this meeting, you should be able to familiarize yourself with the presentation in practical terms. This is exactly what I mean still with the process of completing your CV. You will be required to create an account with the European Union Europass link and access the template and complete your CV and submit. This is everything to do with it. So passwords and all of these are part of the process. Exactly what I mean. This is it. So during this stage, you should be able to, at the end of it, develop a Europass CV and be able to submit when the time comes. Another most important document is the letter of motivation, also known as statement of purpose. This is a very important document. I decided to put 2 stars for a reason. This is the document that will tell the selection committee who you are, what your purpose is, what is compelling you, what makes you competent, what makes you stand out, and what is your passion, what is your drive, what do you want to do afterwards, what is really, making you feel you're the most competent candidate. So you have to write a letter of motivation just as it is. It's a letter of motivation. So you have to explain your motive very clearly and precisely to the selection committee to make you stand out. And during the course of this process, definitely you should be able to learn how to, craft your own letter of motivation. Some of these are in Google, but I recommend that do not copy and paste. Make this as natural and as original to suit your needs as possible, because the selection committee knows exactly how to grab you if you've copied and pasted. Also, I mean, in this letter, you should be able to sell yourself. This is your only tool to market yourself in the selection committee. So you should be able to craft a very, very award-winning letter of motivation. Of course, answering the 5WH spectrum. What, how, when, those questions, very important fundamental questions in writing this motivation letter. Who are you? What are you? When? Whom? And how? Those questions are key in enabling you craft your motivation letter and makes it feasible and compelling. So this is important. And I should state that at whichever point, do not hesitate to contact anyone to help you. For the benefit of anyone, I will always be available for consultations when you reach this stage. So I made some snapshots of how motivational letters look like. Of course, there is no standard format for this, but you have to write it in the most chronological and catching manner. It should start with a hooker. A hooker is always that hook that will keep the reader interested in reading your letter. And this, of course, requires a skill that you should be practicing now. At this stage, you should be sharpening your hunting skills and sharpening your writing skills for you to be able to write a compelling and competent motivation letter. Of course, you should be able to find these and, familiarize yourself with the format in Google. Commitment letter, well, this is almost towards the last stages that now you have been awarded and you need to write a commitment letter. If by chance and if you are fortunate to be granted this scholarship, you will have to write this letter. Okay, application form. So this will drive us back to the other catalog where you'll be selecting your programs, This is very key. And if you delay at this stage and find that the program of your interest has a very nearly approaching deadline, usually you will face difficulties. Of course, you would wish to start this early and start the process. If you find this when you're late, trust me, you will likely not prepare and produce a competent application. So you have to familiarize yourself with this system immediately, just at the end of this meeting. Go to Google, type the Erasmus Mundus scholarship catalog, and you should be able to see courses. They're always there. But at this stage, they are not active. The window of the application is closed, but you should be able to familiarize yourself with the system and learn to see the courses of your interest and prepare for the hunting spree when the time comes. And B, there is, you can apply for more than 3 scholarships at the same time, but try to concentrate your efforts on the most, best chances for the 3. So you have to select 3 courses. This scholarship application allows you to choose 3 course choices. So from the list of programs in the catalog, you should be able to find the courses of your choice, at least 3. I mean, at the maximum, 3. So the course that you want first, second, and third, you should be able to submit all of these when the time comes. So you have to choose all of this, but very, very, very mindful of deadlines. So some deadlines are not the same as other course deadlines. So different programs have different deadlines, but you will submit this application all at once. There you go, study and research objectives. Of course, at this stage, it's important that you read the program website adequately, align your objectives of the course with the objectives, and stand a great chance. Why did I put this? This takes us back to the later of motivation, that at one point you will need to integrate certain components of your research, probably what compels you to study with specific course. And, you should be able to, show the selection committee your objectives, indicate how the program fits your current career path and your future career aspirations. So you should be able to highlight specific objectives in this stage of your motivation letter and statement of purpose preparation stage. Recommendation letters. Here we go. This is very important for you because you need to ask your referees to provide you recommendation letters. So like I said, recommendation letters shall be professional and academic. Professional would mean letters from your current work or past employer. Academic means your university professors, university lecturers, and whoever authority in the university should be able to, give you reference, should be able to write you a recommendation letter. And I advise that you consider this very importantly, because at any stage, some of these authorities can also be very busy, and you have to constantly remind them to prepare for your recommendation letter. However, prior to this, you have to discuss it with them first so that they understand the purpose for the recommendation letter to allow them tailor it to fit this specific application. If that is done for you, it should be uploaded into the system before the deadline. So this is also an aspect of time. How best you'll manage your time is very important. So you should be able to fit your recommenders within the time that is allowed before the deadline of the scholarship application. So this is an aspect that you will discuss, of course, with your recommenders. So they will be able to upload this into the system. Before and after submission, of course, the required documents that we just discussed are important, and you should be able to do all of this. This is, of course, before, like I said, you should be able to consult with your friends, consult with the alumnus, people like me, people like Dr. Daniel, people like Dr. Abel should be able to help you prepare and sharpen your application. So take advantage of the existence of competent people within your circle to be able to help you proofread and give that extra eye into your letter to sharpen it and sieve it off any typos and grammatical errors. Remember to submit at least as early as you can to have your application among the first ones to be handled or the first to be handled. Why do I mean this? Of course, as the adage says, the earliest bird catches the worm. However, everybody is given equal footing in this stage. But what I mean is, the earlier prepared you are, the better. The earlier prepared you are, the earlier you will submit. So this is what I mean. Upon your submission, there is the aftermath. Of course, this is where the fever comes in, anxiety comes in, paranoia, states of confusion. You're too anxious to get feedback. So at this stage, you definitely will be looking out for information with regard to the application that you submitted. So decisions for your application will be communicated to you by the university. The Erasmus Mundus scholarship is always handled by a consortium of at least 3 to 7 different universities from different countries. However, you will always get feedback from the consortium coordinating university. So the consortium coordinating university is where your correspondences will be reached out. So they'll send you emails communicating to you that if unfortunately you have not been successful, they will send you that email. If you are successful at this stage, you will be sent an email telling you the next steps that you will be required to undertake. So be prepared, and always after you've submitted, it's usually in the month of April, extending into May, that these decisions and results of your applications will be sent out to your emails. So be prepared to always have access to the internet and always be prepared to check your emails for any possible correspondences. Of course, at this stage, there's lots of fever, lots of paranoia, lots of anxiety. So, you need to, you know, for us who are faithful, pray about it, seek some, spiritual counseling to allow you be able to overcome these anxieties and emotional, uh, you know, obstructions after you've submitted. So yeah, this again is very important to note that keep God always in this stage. for the faithfuls. I thought this is important to mention. Should you be lucky, should you be fortunate to be selected for the interviews, this is what you need to do. Preparing for the interview is your next stage to sell yourself. Of course, you would have already submitted your documents and already be prepared to expect feedback. So should you be able to be called, should you be able to be required to sit for interviews, prepare yourself, read about the program objectives again, practice confidently, know how to introduce yourself, know how to speak about yourself and sell yourself at the easiest and most detailed manner. Of course, remind yourself always that you are a good candidate, you are the best candidate. Always be positive about yourself. Remind yourself that you are the most competent candidate for this stage. So have this confidence always with you. However, it goes just beyond confidence. You really have to know how to sell yourself. So consult from scholars, consult from people like me and the people around your circles, how to be able to pass the interviews if you will be required to sit for the interviews. And usually this is the last stage where you are allowed to sell yourself or fail to sell yourself. So this is your own problem. If you fail to sell yourself, it's up to you, but no one wishes in this for you not to be able to sell yourself. So learn and arm yourself and be prepared for your interviews if you're contacted. Okay, and these are just closing remarks and to emphasize that there are so many groups outside there um, that you can always be able to join and seek career guidance during and before the process to your application and interviews stage. Thanks to the African Center for Career Mentorship that they have given us this platform. So you should also be able to take advantage of them. However, these are other contacts. There are Facebook contacts for the Erasmus cluster for Uganda. There is Erasmus Mundus Association for the Ugandan cluster, and there's a WhatsApp group as well to this effect. So this should be able to allow you demystify your concerns. And yeah, we are nearly to the tail end of this interview, and I call for your questions so that I can be able to answer. So take it up from there, Dr. Daniel. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Steve, for that nice presentation. It's very informative. I'm happy that you've been able to share with us this exciting information. And I've got 2 questions to ask you and 2 comments to make. But before I do so, I would like to invite my boss, Mr. Walekwa, to ask you some questions. And
so much, Dr. Dan. And Steve, thank you so much for creating time to take us through this very important scholarship or funding avenue. I have a colleague of mine who, actually 2 of them, they are from South Sudan. They were struggling to use the template. And in your presentation, you've emphasized that that is the template that are recommended or that must be used. What advice do you give to prospective applicants who are struggling to follow that particular template? They were thinking that that template does not give them a chance to articulate the impact they have created, and it has a specific limit that they must follow. That is one question. The second question is the preparation. How long did it take you to prepare for the education? how long did it take you? And you've kept emphasizing the aspect of prepare, familiarize yourself, prepare. How long did it take you, and what was the hardest stage that a prospective applicant should be mindful about as they prepare to attack this animal? Then the last point, you've talked about the supportive association or the available support group, which can really demystify the issue, the myth, but also support you and hold your hand as you go on. You've given us their Facebook page, which we can reach out to. Do we have a global platform that we know? Because literally our YouTube channel is being used by people from Nigeria, Burkina Faso, South Africa, and Asia. Is there a global platform that members can go to and find this information resourceful? Over to you, Dr. Dan.
Thank you, Dr. Abel, for these very, very important questions. You have raised three aspects that I need to highlight. Number one is a template. This is a template that, like I said, can be accessed on the internet, but it is the standard for the European Union. So I don't think it is true that it does not allow you to include information that you have. That template allows you to include as much information that you can, only if our student brothers and sisters probably didn't find the template, at whichever stage I can be able to share the template that I have. However, I am not quite certain that the template that I have is the most updated version. So I recommend that you be able to access the most updated version in the European Union Europass website. When you go to the Google, type in the details, and that template should be accessible to you. So you should be able to find the most updated and current one and fill your or complete your CV. Populate it with the most salient information that you have. Of course, usually it's advisable not to be very wordy. Always be brief and precise and direct with what you write in your CV. CV is not a paper for you to write essays. CV is a paper for you to write strictly what makes you competent. What I mean is straight to the point. If it is, I achieved this, you should be able to, write quantifiable achievements. That's number one. Number two, preparation. Thank you again, Abel. Preparation is good. Like the adage says, the earliest worm catches the worm. The earlier you prepare, the better you will be. The earlier you prepare, the earlier you will be able to submit. Preparation is important. All the documents that I've been emphasizing requires your time management, requires that you prepare, requires that you seek out, requires that number one, if you don't have a passport, this is what I mean by preparation. You will be doomed. So at whichever stage, save up money, go for your passport. That's what I mean by preparation. I cannot overemphasize the importance of preparation. Number three, groups. Truly, Abel, there are so many groups out there. And like I said, the Erasmus, Mundus, Ugandan chapter has a group. And at the tail end or after this presentation, I should be able to share that information as well inside the WhatsApp group to be able to allow those who are interested to hunt to join these very, very resourceful groups. Thank you very much. If I can say I've answered your questions. Thank you, Abel.
All right.
I
Thanks.
can say again that these are only social media groups. we have also been able to conduct other webinars in these groups because that's where they are prepared and scheduled in. So like I said, I should be able to share this information also at the end of this meeting or to the group of the African Center for Career Mentorship. So I'll share this information in consultation with Abel and in consultation with Dan. Any more questions?
Thank you, Steve. Before I ask, I bring the questions from the chat. Let me first ask two questions that I have. Could you share with us what exactly you did during the interview that really made you win that scholarship? And two, is that how many scholarship applications did you make before winning this scholarship? And how many rejections did you receive? And why those rejections? And the other two comments are, you've talked about the motivation letter. This is very, very important. What we are finding is that some people, they just go to the internet and download a sample and try to stick their story into that sample, and then it comes out as very disjointed. So I would discourage people from just getting motivation letter templates from anyhow. Just write your story. That's the whole thing. And I believe after here, people are going to contact you so that you can send them your motivation letter that you wrote. I would say, please don't. Yes, don't. Yeah. The other thing is about the recommendation letters. Some applicants get trouble getting these letters. And I would suggest that since now we have time, try to create some relationships with your potential referees, inform them about your goal of applying for this scholarship so they are aware. Don't just run to them when it's just 1 week towards the deadline and you are panting and you want them to fix you in their schedule. It can be a little bit challenging. So the referees are really good, but they can disappoint you if you go to them at the last minute. Me, I refuse. If you come to me at the last minute, I'll just say, sorry, I'm not able to offer this at the last minute. So the idea is inform them early enough, create some relationship, and then they will be able to give you the recommendation letters on time.
Thank you very much, Daniel. You raise very pertinent issues, very, very, practical hunting concerns. So I should say that interviews, like I said, is the only place for you to be able to be seen and heard. At the earlier stages, you're only submitting written, information about yourself. So at the interview stage, you are face to face with the interview panel, and you are supposed to open your mouth and speak. What do I mean, open your mouth? Once you open your mouth, the interview panel should be able to know that this guy deserves to be awarded the scholarship. The interview panel should be able to know this guy wrote the motivation letter. The interview panel should be able to know this guy wrote the CV. The interview panel should be able to know this guy sat for the undergraduate program, and this is indeed the guy that submitted this application. So in the interviews, you'll be, interacting. I usually like to regard interviews as a point for you to interact. But what do I mean? Interact at a professional stage. So when you open your mouth, what comes out of your mouth is what sells you. So be prepared. What do I mean by be prepared? Read again your CV, read again your motivational letter, read again the program objectives, read again the course objectives that you have applied for, the outcomes of the course that you have applied for. At the end of the day, that is where you will be able to speak and tell the interview panel who exactly you are. Combined with your other experiences, work-related experiences, academic-related experiences, research-related experiences, if you have any. Of course, they will ask you some random questions that you would probably don't expect. But what do I mean? Approach the interview as an interaction so that you don't panic, so that you don't be caught off the hook. Always be calm, be relaxed. Take it like an interaction, but take it professional. Always sell yourself in the most detailed way possible. If you are given time to speak, go for it. Shoot the point like, like you have no any other chance, shoot the point like it's the only stage for you to know who you are and to tell the panel who you are. So the interview stage, I cannot overemphasize because we are all gifted differently in how best we use our language to sell what we have inside of us. Once you open your mouth, you should be able to tell the panel that this is what I have inside me. So presentation is completely a skill that you should be able to, and be able to practice in and be able to sell yourself. They always say, akamumwako, that's a Luganda word. Your mouth should be able to tell people who you are. So you can either fail to market yourself or market yourself, but using your mouth. So prepare for your interviews, read, research, equip yourself, you consult, be calm, be free, and also, make it a warm and jovial session. If you are selected to be a candidate for the interview, approach the interview with a jovial, professional attitude. Second aspect, number of applications. Thank you again, Daniel. Of course, if you're a hunter, you don't just, hunt with one arrow. If you're a hunter, you should be having different sizes of arrows and different numbers of arrows. What do I mean? I submitted multiple applications. I didn't only submit the Erasmus application. I submitted applications for Canada. I submitted application for DAD. DAD is a German-based scholarship scheme. I submitted an application for, this was a private one, to the Northeastern University of the US. That is the closest application that I submitted with the Erasmus one. And they all got back to me nearly at the same time. However, the Northeastern University application did not give me a full scholarship. They gave me a half scholarship at a part funding agreement. So I turned it down. Little did I know that the Erasmus Mundus was going to come full throttle and going to give me a full scholarship. So always be equipped to submit as many scholarships that you want. Do not only rely on submitting one scholarship and then sit back and expect, miracles to happen in your first application. Of course, if it happens for you, lucky for you. But in most cases, submit as many applications as you can. There are many scholarship schemes out there. Like I said, the Erasmus Mundus is my second most, I am a hunter, I should emphasize this. I have been granted 2 scholarships in my hunting spree. This is my second scholarship. The first scholarship that I hunted and put in my bag was the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, where I happened to study in the UK. That was 2017. Second one is this one, the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, which emphasizes that you should be a hunter. If you're in this and you're not a hunter, forget about it. Be equipped, be committed, be consistent, be patient. Submit as many applications as you possibly can. Of course, this requires that you are always in the internet. Do not waste your data only on social media. Economize your data for these processes. Last question was rejections. Well, rejections are part of the process. And a rejection is your chance to, try again. So rejection is like telling you do corrections. For those of us who have been in school, when your teacher tells you do corrections, take it in good light, take it in good faith, and try again. So I haven't just come into scholarship winning from the sky. I have a story to tell. So I have had very many rejections, and I have had very many waiting, have been placed on waiting lists for so many applications. So don't be discouraged when you are rejected. Just be inspired and motivated when you're rejected. It's a chance for you to try again. So embrace rejections. Be ready for it. Thank you very much, Daniel, for that questions. More questions, please.
Thank you, Steve, for those nice answers. Now we are going to the questions in the chat. We've got one from Charles. Thank you, Charles. Can the occupational English test or ET work in place of IELTS? Should I read all of them and you answer, or I just read one by one?
I would recommend one at a time.
Okay, great.
Is that the only one for that person?
There is also another one related to English proficiency. There is one from Infinix. Is English language proficiency certificate equivalent to IELTS?
Okay. Thank you for those questions related to the language certificate. Infinix, if I can start with you, these are not the same language certificates. The IELTS is a language certificate only issued by the British Council. So the British Council is the only authority in the issuance of this certificate. So usually you will be finding that they need different types of English certificates. But again, it depends on the university. I was very fortunate that I didn't have to submit none of these English language certificates. You will ask me why. I can answer my only question. So I did not submit English language certificates. Why? Because my first scholarship allowed me to present myself in English, and I was exempted from submitting the English language certificate. So after studying in the UK, of course, that is golden standard. That means that you're competent, you are proficient in, and you have good command in the use of English. So after my first master's in the UK, I can say that no university will ask me again for this, English. So Infinix, thank you. And for the first question, it's also related with English. You have to learn to seek information from the web. I said IELTS because it's what I am familiar with, and it's issued by British Council. There is also TOEFL. There is also GRE. But like I said, these are all dependent on the university. You will always find what they want during the process of your application. So thank you for these concerns to do with English language. More questions?
Okay, thank you, Steve. Oh, there was also one about English, whatever. That one you've covered it also. There is one from Grain Pollen. Wow, nice name. I request Mr. Steve to elaborate more on certificate of residence.
Okay, thank you, Gray Pollen. If I haven't pronounced your name, I would ask that you excuse me. Gray Pollen, thank you for your question. Resident certificate. A resident certificate is a document that you will, of course, be asked to submit at the tail end of the application. So that one is a letter. You can get it from the LOC. Like I said, I got mine from the LOC 1. Unless you're not a Ugandan, you might not be familiar with the LOC council system. So if you're Ugandan and you know who your LOC 1 is, go to them, explain to them the purpose for your resident certificate. A resident certificate, for the benefit of our audience, is not something that should scare you. A certificate is just a letter to certify that you are indeed a Ugandan. So your authority, maybe NERA, should be saying you are a citizen, this is your national ID number, blah, 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 blah. That's NERA. For the LOC Council, they should be able to say you are a citizen and a resident of, say, Bukoto, depending on your residence. The LOC one should be able to say he has lived with me in my zone, he has lived with me in my division, he is a law-abiding citizen, he has lived in my zone for the number of years. So these shouldn't scare you. That is what the certificate is. It's just a letter to the authority. But if you go to the LOC Council, of course, mindful that they do not have a sophisticated system to be able to write you a competent and, a detailed letter. So you should be able to utilize your skills, of course, if you wish. For my case, I utilize my skill, mindful that the LOC one in my village didn't have a computer. So I was able to, agree with my LOC one, and we drafted this later jointly, and also designed a headed paper for it so that it looks professionally written. Of course, I know that LOCs always write letters using pen and paper, but for this one, you're supposed to submit typed letter. So you should be able to agree with your LOC council, whether it is LOC1, LOC2, LOC3, Gombolola, DISO. These are all authorities in your reach. So you should be able to utilize them. Go to them, tell them the purpose for the letter. If you don't have computer, take a laptop. If you don't have, go to the internet cafe, draft this, print it, or have it signed by him and stamped, scan it and submit. I think I answered great. Thank you for your question. More questions, please.
Okay, thank you, Steve. We've got one from Molokwa. He's asking, where is the WhatsApp link?
Thank you for your question. I will share these details in the group where you got the information for this meeting. So I will share this in consultation with Daniel, in consultation with Abel. And yeah, I should be able to avail you all this information we need many Ugandans, of course, in winning these scholarships. I should emphasize to thank our African brothers from Nigeria, to thank our African brothers from Ghana. They always take the largest dividend for the best and the most awarded countries in these scholarships. So what I mean is I will share this information for the benefit of our audience so that they can join and also be able to represent Uganda and contribute to many statistics of people who are benefiting from Uganda and winning scholarships. Thank you, Loka. I'll share that information. More questions, please.
We've got one from Hakim. Are there PhD programs for Erasmus Mundus?
Thank you, Hakim. Yes, there are PhD programs for this scheme. Of course, this, I should say that the Erasmus Mundus offers two different schemes, master's and PhD. So PhD is part of it, and you should be able to find these on the web. When the time comes for you to apply, you should be able to find this on the web. Truly, Erasmus Mundus offers PhD scholarships as well. Thank you, Hakim.
Okay, just two more to go. Dennis, I think you had the comment about the English proficiency requirement. Okay, but the other part of your question is about he wants you to talk about the work experience required.
Thank you very much, Dennis, for this question. Work experience. Yeah, like I said, CV is a document that you will be required to submit. And work experience is one of those components that you will be able to write in your CV. So what exactly do I mean by work experience? When they say work experience, usually it scares people away. It scares and raises your hair in your head to think about, now what do I write in this section, work experience? Mindful of the fact that probably some people don't have a wide base of experience. So work experience can mean three things, if I may. Work experience can mean your voluntary or volunteer experience, if you happen to have volunteered. One, work experience can mean internship. Two, take it very important, work experience shouldn't frighten you. Thirdly, work experience should mean that, okay, besides a volunteer, besides an intern, did you serve in any, office? What I mean there now is, okay, what did you do? Were you a project officer? Of course, that's what work experience now would mean. I was a project officer. I was a development officer. I was a lawyer. I was a magistrate. I was, So you should be able to, if you have all of these experiences, put them there, sell yourself. If you were doing internship, make it quantifiable. What did you do and what did you achieve during your internship? If you were a volunteer, make it quantifiable. What did you do? What did you achieve? If you happen to be a magistrate, legal officer, probation officer, nurse, doctor, you know what to write, but be precise and write your experience in a quantifiable manner. Of course, indicate the most important to the course. So tailor your work experience to your course. Of course, that's what I would advise. However, do not be very flat footed to just drop experience there, because some of it might not be relevant to the course that you are applying for. So work experience and all the documents, motivation should be aligned to the course. If you have work experience that does not align to your course or your aspirations, please try to keep that away. Choose only that can sell you best. Thank you very much, Dennis, if I answer you well.
Wow. Thank you. Okay, we are about to close. Before I call you to give your closing remarks, we've got one question from Techno16. But before, I'd like to say, if you're on this platform and your name is not showing, you are just Infinix, you are just Techno, please be careful, because when you be called for an online interview and you join like that, trust me, you lose the marks, okay? So always make sure that you rename yourself so that people know you're a person. Yeah, we've got one from Techno16, I think it will be the last one. Are there any targeted courses for this scholarship? This I'll answer it. I think Techno16, you need to listen to the recording. He has already addressed that. There is a course catalog that you need to check. Do we have any other burning question? You can raise your hand. I'll take one, and then I'll ask Steve to give his closing remarks. Any question that I missed? Raise your hand. I'll ask you to unmute. Okay, one from Oppo. Again, same problem. Oppo, know how to rename yourself. Otherwise, you will be in trouble when you'll be called for an interview. Trust me on this.
Okay, then thank you for this opportunity. My name is Otim Peter, and I would like to thank you for this opportunity that you have given us on this platform. And I also want to thank Mr. Eyamu Stephen. My question is, during what periods do this scholarship usually come in? Because I've been trying to apply like from last year, but I've been so unfortunate. So I'm trying to inquire, during what period should we try to book these scholarships?
Okay, thank you again, Daniel, for managing the questions. I have one question from Oppo, from a team Peter on window of applications. I would like to call it that way. Window of applications. When do scholarships open? I should estimate for you, usually, that is in fall. What do I mean by fall? Fall means after the academic year starts. Usually that is September. So after September, October, November, within that time, October, November is when the window for applications opens. So sorry again if this was your problem. So now this should allow you to be able to, prepare for any slight opening. You jump in, start the hunting straight away. So be prepared that always after the academic year, after September, October, November, that is the point for you to, take advantage. And it runs from October, November, December, and usually starting of January. But for most scholarship application windows, it's from the month of September up to December. January is a rare case scenario. So, Brother Peter or team, be prepared for this opening for this year in the month starting September, October, November, December. Thank you very much for your question, Mr. Tim. My closing remarks are not very, very, exciting ones, but my closing remarks are an emphasis, a calling, an encouragement. I should be able to spark, your hunting skills. What do I mean by sparking? Do not expect to be given food on your platter. There are so many scholarships outside there. If you do not know how to use your internet, your data, style up, man up, and be professional. If you want scholarships, use your data, browse the web. There are so many scholarships out there. I would like to thank Brother Daniel and Brother Abel for allowing, you people, the audience, to benefit from knowledge. Knowledge is power. And in these groups that we are all members, there's a lot of information being shared. However, that information is not just for the faint-hearted, the slow-tongued, the weak-hearted, the non-serious. That information is for those who are ready to hunt. That information is your harrow. That information is your pen. That information is your book. Pick information, harness information, utilize information. So those are my closing remarks. Don't sit back and expect food on your plate. Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much, Abel, an African Center for Career Guidance and Mentorship, for giving me this opportunity to encourage, for the opportunity to share information, for the opportunity to share my experience and inspire the next, candidates for the applications